our Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to focus on three things. That's homeostasis, our hormones, and stress, and how it affects weight loss. So I'm going to show you a few actions, our Wellness Wednesday, and that you can take. So first, let me just talk about hormones and how they affect our weight loss. Cortisol, which is maybe something you've heard about, it's when we get it, it's like the adrenaline. It's when we get excited and we have to do things. And that is a hormone that floods through our system to get us to drive, to do something. It pushes us to take action. Usually it's stimulating our nervous system to say, go, get up, go do something, move, get away from this is frightening, those types of things. You can kind of feel that when we get scared. We have so much of that now in our lives, and it's set up where our brain now is expecting it. So whenever we have our phones ping us, or we have something going on, if we've had something in the past, a traumatic experience, maybe we smell, see, feel, taste something in the environment today, and it triggers in our brain that same fight or flight, and cortisol goes up, and that's flooding through our system again. And so that dysregulates our hormones, and then that affects our homeostasis. Homeostasis, essentially, think of this as where there's balance, where the systems in the body are calm. They're not in emergency mode. The digestion's functioning beautifully. And the respiratory, you're breathing fully. The gastrointestinal system's going, you're pooping, you're peeing, everything's functioning beautifully. There's no emergency. On the other hand, when it's not in function, it's not operating, digestion is slowing down. In fact, sometimes it just stops altogether. In fact, if there's a major emergency, the bowels shut down, no pee, or it just eliminates all of it, like diarrhea, just get it out of the system. And those are symptoms of an out of balance or not in homeostasis. So how the hormones and that regulate each other and affect each other are what we want to talk about, what we want to learn about, so that we understand why sometimes the weight loss is a huge struggle. Weight loss is not just about, oh, well, stop eating so much and exercise more. That's really a simplified and not even correct way of looking at the field of weight loss, and actually healthy weight loss. We've kind of been promoted that you're calorie counting or starving, all that. It's false information when you're looking at it from this tiny list, view of that. When you start to look at the whole body and the whole person, not just the body, but the person themselves, their individual experiences, their individual history, their emotional state, their long-term emotional and mental state, their history as far as genetics go. And genetics really plays about 5% of a role. There's a role there, but when I say genetics, I'm also talking about how we have been taught. So how did you grow up? Were you always finish everything on your plate? People are starving. You're eating too much, you're getting fat, all these other things that have planted and made our history of who we are is kind of built to where today we have to look at all of that. And it's not as simple as stop eating so much, or don't eat this, or do keto, or be a vegan and exercise a lot more. There's no more way of just saying that that's the answer, because it's really not. There's so much more to it. And if it were that easy, we would not have the situation that we have with the percentage of obesity that we have, the percentage of chronic disease because of obesity, because of being overweight, and then the perpetuating cycles of all of that. So understanding how the hormones, specifically cortisol, affects your system and affects weight loss is going to be a really beautiful piece of your weight loss journey. And knowing that cortisol is something that you want to really regulate so that you can come back into homeostasis and be calm. And you're not going to regulate it by a pill or a potion or something outside of you. You want internal regulation of it. And how you can do that are really simple actions. Being mindful is part and parcel with everything that I teach and I talk about, but being mindful in a way of being creative in how you live your life. We are experiencing an incredibly challenging time right now with one, we have massive amount of data, so much information at our fingertips. And then two, we have information that isn't necessarily true. And we have to try to figure out what's truth, what's fact, when we haven't really been taught how to look at the data and evaluate it as truth, as fact, right? And the facts are this. Cortisol is a hormone. Let's just look at it as like there's a chemical process that goes on in the body. We need cortisol. It's an important piece for our hormones to function. We wouldn't get up out of bed. We wouldn't get up and do things and live life and go get food and take care of ourselves if the cortisol didn't get us up in the morning. So we need elevated levels of cortisol in the morning. That gets us up. And then we want to see where this regulates throughout the day. But by the time we get to having our meals, we don't want those cortisol levels to be up. We want to actually be calm. So one of the simplest things we can do is we can unplug the digital devices and set a ritual around your eating that is based on calm, based on peace, based on nourishment not just from the food, but pleasure and joy and nourishment of the senses, nourishment of the taste buds, nourishment of mental nourishment and connection with another in a meal. This is traditionally what humans needed, is this connection with another in a meal setting, never driving down the street, eating your anything. If you could cut a couple things out of your life, I rarely like to say, cut this out of your life, cut this out. I prefer just add in all the positive things. But if you were to cut anything out of your life, it would be going through a drive-through. And it's really interesting that that's now what everybody feels like they have to do, because you get yourself in your car, go to a drive-through, get your food, eat in the car. This is completely antithesis to homeostasis, to a balanced, healthy life. It would be much better for you to actually take the time to prepare your meal, even to shop for your meal, even to grow some of your food, and to go through and understand the natural process of human species and tap back into that, because that action alone, living that process and understanding a start, change, and stop is a process. And there's not, where's my next fix? Where's my next buzz? Where's my next zzz, right? Where's my next jolt? Where's my next pill that knocks me out? That knocks us out of that homeostasis. It then throws our cortisol levels all over the place. And then as a result, we aren't even able to get back down to calm so that we can have a simple process of digesting our meal, because we're so agitated and driving an emergency, and we've numbed out to that because that's become our new normal. Really a scary thought. And it should be a scary thought, because that's what's keeping you fat. It's really what keeps all of us like holding on to that, because our body's not able to digest. It's not able to process the food, and it won't matter how healthy that food is. If your cortisol levels jacked out the roof, if your adrenals are just buzzing and you're just, your hormones are a mess and homeostasis is not happening. Your digestion, again, doesn't matter how healthy the food is. The digestion's not, the body won't be able to process it. It's clogged, it's stopped, we've got stagnant energy, the and then it compounds with the hormones, the gastrointestinal movement, which is our main detoxification, right? Getting through that, our sweat glands, we need all of these working and functioning in harmony, but we stop them with deodorant. And so all of that is to say that there is a holistic view which you can look at your body and look at weight loss and look at thriving and looking and feeling your best. It doesn't have to be fabricated, and it really shouldn't be looked at as what's the next pill for me to take. I'm really using pill as just this general analogy really, or a metaphor. So you see how, well, we just want that quick pill, or we want that quick V, or we want that quick injection, or we want that quick surgery, or we want that quick, and that's not what we are as humans. We are meant to have seasons and experience life of the seasons, even within the day. So if you could take a 24-hour period of time and look at the spring of the day and the fall of the day and the winter of the day and the summer of the day, you would start to see how you would benefit so much more to, there is the spring time in the morning when you're excited and getting up and ready to move. And if you're not springing and blossoming out of bed, we need to look before, because you're not sleeping. And so we're not getting that winter, that rest. We're not getting the deep REM sleep where you're processing in that deep, nourishing phase of life that is essential. And then there's another phase where now we've got summer coming, and there is an energy of heat and processing of going on, processing our food and taking the time to do that. And then there's the fall of the harvest. So once we've eaten that food, is the body able to process it and assimilate it and digest it and then utilize it? And we have the harvest of our energy. So energy is also going to be, are you able to focus? Are you able to think clearly? Are you able to create and come up with better ideas and innovate better and move your body in all these beautiful ways? And then what comes next is winter. So already you can see how in one 24-hour period of time, there are seasons and there are cycles and there are ebbs and flows, and they are natural. And when we break that cycle or try to inhibit that cycle, we cause more harm than we realize. And it shows up as carrying excess weight. Again, the percentage now, we are over 50% in this country of overweight, people overweight. Obesity, far of that. And this is preventable. This is, people dying every single day from a preventable disease. And that's the true pandemic. That's the true epidemic, really. So what can we do about it? Again, what I said was looking at it from this mindful way of your days are seasons. How could you build in an opportunity to have a winter where you go into that deep, quiet time and reflection? I personally love to do that right after lunch. I break my fast. Sometimes I will have an earlier breakfast, but I usually break my fast around 10:30, 11. And then by 11:30, I'm going into deeper contemplation and relaxing and seeing. And then there's another spring, and then that comes up, and then I'm energetic again. But this false regulation of excited, and then we need to down it. And then we're down, and then we need to up it. It's like we're on a rat wheel, and it's just going to keep us going in this wheel that's really unhealthy. And that wheel is not homeostasis. Homeostasis looks like feeling your absolute most vibrant and really coming up with ideas and being creative, even if you consider yourself not creative, but you're more creative, you're more interested, you're looking around and observing your environment, you're more connected with other people, you're more insightful, you're more intuitive, you're more naturally calm, you're more naturally energized. Doesn't mean to be, I naturally have a very air personality, right? So if we were talking in the doshas, as in yoga, there are doshas. So we've got different names for that. I don't need to go into all the names because that's not what's important. What's important is to understand these seasons and that we all have them naturally. We are not fixed in that. I am naturally a spring person. Spring is my favorite, my ultimate season, but I also have the winter and I need that winter. You probably do too. Maybe you know that if you don't get that deep nourishing time, that deep settling in time, that deep quiet time, you don't feel whole. And maybe you feel like if you don't get that genuine connection and fun bouncing off ideas and creating time, you don't feel whole. And now then we look at all these different energies of like, I also need to have drive and passion. And if I don't feel connected to that, I get depressed. So if we can start looking at it from this mindful way and just understand that we are part of nature, it becomes so much easier to debug the weight loss issue. And then when you debug that weight loss issue and you start to release the excess weight, and I don't mean just physical weight, I mean the mental and the emotional and the spiritual baggage that we keep dragging around and clinging on to that does not serve us, then when you start to release that, it's almost like, whoa, I didn't realize I've had a headache for years, right? You have like something sticking out of your head, like pain chronically in your head. And it's like someone pulls out the nail that's been stuck in your head. And all of a sudden there's relief. And you had forgotten that you had a freaking nail in your head or a rock in your shoe. There's great stories. You can put a rock in your shoe and walk around for a mile with a rock in your shoe. Just one rock in your shoe. How long will you go for? It will, by the time you get close to a mile, you'll have figured out a way to adapt. But does that make the rock in the shoe okay? No, it doesn't. We should not be adapting to the rocks in the shoe and the nails in the skull and the pains in the heart. We should be listening to them and looking at them and waking up and going, what's wrong with this picture? Oh, there's a rock in my shoe. Let's remove the rock. Not cut the leg off, not put a lift in the shoe or put 50 million pillows in the shoe, but take the rock out of the shoe. Pull the nail out of the skull. Pull the knife out of the shoulder. And then the body will start to do something miraculous. And that's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm excited for you to find out for yourself, because it happens almost, well, magically by itself. And that is the truth. That is the truth of homeostasis. That is the truth of understanding and how this relates to stress, is that stress is an opportunity. So the rock is stress, right? The nail in the head, woof, that's stress. But it's an opportunity for us to see what's really going on here. And when we can step further back and observe how we can do things differently for ourselves, and maybe we don't have the information because we've kind of been, well, taught that don't look over here. You don't know your body. Don't trust your body. You need to take a pill. You need to go talk to somebody else about it, and they know your body better. And when we've gone down that road for so long, there is a major disconnection from the body. But the good news is, wherever you go, there you are. And you really are the best and the most knowledgeable person for you. It doesn't mean that you can't go get competent expert guidance, but it does mean that you can step into the shoes of being your first best doctor, your first best authority on you. So I'm going to show you a movement pattern that is different than just going and getting a workout. And I say this every day to my clients when I work with them, and whether it's an hour session or 15-minute or a 30-minute session, it's not about the 15 minutes or the hour that you're with me that matters. Once you understand these movements of the body, you need to be doing them throughout your day and practicing them, because your body doesn't just do something during the hour where you go to the gym or go get a workout. You want to be moving your body every single day. It's one of the reasons why I either sit on my Swiss ball, or I'm sitting on the floor, ideally, or standing, because we need to stand, we need to move. The body really needs to be moving. And if we don't, if we're sitting all the time, the brain and the cerebellum dysregulates and loses connection with its own ability to do basic things like walk. That's why we see adults tripping over their feet and tripping over a curb and stumbling and just breaking their wrists and breaking their hips and dying because they've fallen and they can't get up. And really what it is they've just forgotten how to move their body. And I don't want that to happen to you. And if you can change something right now, this is something so really simple that we can do. And that's literally getting down, bending down, and standing back up. Bending over and standing back up. Now, when we have hinge, kind of wearing a little dress over my pants. Let me see if you can see my natural hinge. Well, the hinge is at the hip. So I've got lots of videos on how to hinge from the hip. Hinge from the hip and bend over. That's a single lift, right? Single lift. Even when you pick up, I'm using my legs and my glutes. I'm not using my back. I'm using my core. But a lot of people will bend over this way. I can barely get that. Well, of course you can barely get that, because this is not how you want the body should be moving. The body should be moving from its natural hinge, even if it is one leg at a time. So you want to be able to take one leg and have one leg up and off, but still be connected to your core, and bend down and pick up the ball, or pick up the sock, or pick up the heavy weight. If it's something that you need to pick up, and be able to do that. So those are things, though, that you want to be practicing correctly, which would be foundational to having your basic core on. I get into that. If you want some more help, definitely reach out to me. This is what I do, right? Teaching these and coaching my clients on this. But understanding that you want to be moving your body, not just walking all day long, getting and doing your curls. This is static. It's like, I would rather you do something, some bigger movements, getting down and doing functional movements, like really bigger movements. What else did I want to say today? Well, I was going to do a roly-poly. I guess I will. I'm going to turn this over and show you a roly-poly. When's the last time you did a roly-poly or a rollover? Being able to roll over, I'll just do a basic one. I'm just going to roll this way, and I'm going to roll this way. Really simple, right? When's the last time you rolled like that? In Pilates, we do a lot of rolling this way on the spine, but as I continue to work with specifically the cerebellum and work on neural movements in an applied way to movement, and this directly correlates to weight loss, because the cerebellum loves to be moved this way, loves to be moving in these big ways, right? These big, amazing ways where you're up and all kinds of, crazy, right? You think, oh my, what's she doing? But the body loves to move in these ways. Maybe not yet, maybe not today, if you're not used to that. But when you move that body that way, the brain lights up and gets happy. And as a result, you have better focus, more clarity, more calm, because it's regulating the hormonal system and the homeostasis. So there's more that I could talk into about this, but I wanted to cover that on our Wellness Wednesday so that you could get some insight on things that you can do to practice and to restore some of your trust in your body and doing things. What did you used to do as a kid? Did you love hanging from monkey bars or doing cartwheels? You know, maybe today you're not going to be able to go out and do a cartwheel, but could you do a little bit of one and start to move where you're upside down a little bit and doing movements with your body that really light up your brain in a healthy way? This is what helps with the hormones. This is what helps bring back homeostasis. This is what helps also with stress. I at this stage would not be suggesting to go and sit and meditate anymore. I'm not suggesting that for anyone anymore because we sit too much. I'm saying move. Now get connected to your breath, but bigger movements. Going out and doing bigger movements and, right, cartwheels every day is far more beneficial right now than the meditation because we've got too much going on, and it's very, and the cerebral cortex and all those billions of neurons need to be lit back up so that so that the body is able to come back into homeostasis. And that's our goal. That's your immune system. Your whole immune system is regulated by this function, this whole function of your body. And it can be fun. It can be so fun. All right, so I'm going to sign off and say happy Wednesday. Please leave a comment, good or bad. You can leave your comments. Look, I'm Stefana Johnson. I'm the founder of Yogalachi. This is my passion to help, really to help you look and feel amazing in your amazing, beautiful body so you lead like a powerhouse. And that doesn't mean that you're like, I'm going to go and it means that you're leading from your center, from your wholeness. And that's very, very different. We need a lot more people leading from your wholeness and from your true power, not from force, right? Okay. So until next Wednesday, same time, same channel, maybe not same time because sometimes I don't always get here. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you ring the bell because it will let you know when I go live. It'll give you a few minutes heads up. And then you can join me live, all right? So I will see you next time. Comment and let me know if you tried any of the moves. Okay, peace and blessings.